I just had an absolutely great, fantastic conversation with a great friend, and I just want to say that I feel so lifted, a brother I should say, and I feel so lifted from it, and I'm so happy to come to you right now with this positive energy that I have, and I hope to spread it to you as much as I can, but I also hope to spread some knowledge, about testosterone, and you know what that means. It's Wellness Nerd Out time! How you guys doing today? Happy Wellness Nerd Out time, guys. And today we are going to be talking about a few things. One, we're going to be talking about testosterone, its functions, and a few of its functions at least, and testosterone regulation in the body. Thank you for tuning in. We'll get to you in a second here. But we're also going to be talking about my Aunt Linda, because it's her birthday. Happy birthday, Aunt Linda. I hope you've had an awesome day today. I love you so much, and know that this one is for you. So very happy birthday. We'll talk about her more at the end, but I also want to say happy birthday, Adam Young. Love you too, man. Happy birthday, brother. We'll talk about him too, and I hope you enjoyed it as well, of course. We'll talk about him at the end as well. But for now, let's start talking about testosterone a little bit more. So, yesterday we were talking about how testosterone is produced in the body. And we went from the hypothalamus and gonadotropin-releasing hormone, right, down the hypophyseal trunk to the adenohypophysis, a.k.a. the anterior pituitary gland, where we release luteinizing hormone and follicle-stimulating hormone, travel through the blood to the testes, yada, yada, yada. We got testosterone from cholesterol, right? It's converted from cholesterol as testosterone in the testes via our Leydig cells, and so we're picking up right there. So now we have testosterone. So first, let's talk about the difference between free testosterone or unbound testosterone. Free and unbound testosterone. So when we talk about, or I should say free versus bound testosterone, excuse me. Free, unbound is the same thing, all right? So the vast majority of testosterone in our body is bound to what are called plasma proteins, such as sex hormone binding globulin and albumin, for example. And when we have this testosterone bound to these plasma proteins, whether it be either of those, well, it's not quite active yet, albeit this is the vast majority, the vast percentage, I should say, of our testosterone coming in this bound form, all right? So it's our free, unbound, active testosterone that will travel through the blood because, our bound testosterone, it's kind of serves as a reservoir, if you will, for testosterone, all right? So, from there we get our free, active, unbound testosterone that travels through the blood to tissues. And what happens when the testosterone reaches these tissues? Well, the testosterone can either bind the receptor itself and have effects intracellularly to affect gene regulation, right? Or testosterone can be converted into dihydrotestosterone, and this is also known as DHT. All right. So when we talk about DHT or testosterone, and by the way, that's via the enzyme 5-alpha reductase. For those of you who like your enzyme stuff or care, or we should just say it because it's the truth, right? Again, the enzyme 5-alpha reductase converts testosterone into DHT. So whether it's DHT or testosterone binding that cell surface receptor, they travel into the cell and messenger RNA, and then eventually through transcription, right, from our DNA, and then eventually translation into proteins to have their effects on the body. So what are some of these effects? What are some things that happen after we get these proteins? What's going to happen? Well, testosterone can let's kind of fast forward to puberty, right? Because we went through gestation, right? that period from conception to birth last night, and we talked about the different weeks and, you know, when testosterone starts being produced and things like that in utero, what happens. At least we briefly touched over it. But here, you know, when we talk about testosterone, well, first, you know, where is it going to go? Our free unbound testosterone, we could say. What cells are these? Well, the seminal vesicles are one, the prostate gland is another, and of course our muscles and bones. All right? And testosterone promotes the formation of what are called primary sexual characteristics and also secondary sexual characteristics. But let's first talk about primary. So when we say a primary sexual characteristic, we just mean something that it actually affects directly our ability to reproduce. Okay? So we're talking enlargement of the testes, enlargement of the penis, and increased libido, for example, with testosterone, okay, as primary sexual characteristics. Now, when we talk about secondary sexual characteristics, well, they aren't per se necessary for reproduction, but they increase our masculinity, all right? And, you know, when we talk about testosterone and promoting the formation of these secondary sexual characteristics, well, one would be increased facial hair, right? Chest hair, hair in the axillary region, right? Or armpit, you could say. And hair in the genital area, right? And again, this all comes on during and after puberty, right? And you know, this doesn't again directly affect, you know, our us in a reproductive sense, but it's analogous to, say, a lion's mane, where it doesn't need it to reproduce, but it may up its chances, right? If it had a big mane, it makes it more attractive to the female for some reason, like some nice facial hair might, or whatever, I don't know. It's subconscious, ladies, you don't even think about it, right? You just think someone's attractive. But it's I think a very fascinating thing is the concept of a secondary sexual characteristic, and it makes sense, you know, why evolutionarily these genes were passed on, or we could say alleles or forms of a gene that would code for such characteristics, right? And so what are some other things that happen with testosterone around this time, right, during puberty and shortly after? Well, of course, we are going to get changes to the voice box, right? We're going to get to our vocal cords, to the larynx, right? And these changes, you know, they happen rapidly, so that's why these kids going through puberty, their voice cracks like that, you know, and you know, we all laugh at it, but you know, testosterone is majorly responsible for this change, and of course, eventually the voice will deepen, and you know, that's one thing that testosterone does. Now, another fascinating thing about testosterone. Well, we know that testosterone would promote the broadening of our shoulders, right? Muscle growth, increased aggressiveness, right? How you doing? You know, in males, in females too. You know, if there was a lot of it. And we'll get into testosterone and females on another day here, but we're going to still be focusing on males. It's the primary male sexual hormone, right, is testosterone. And you know, albeit we get those effects from testosterone, well, interestingly enough, it actually promotes erythropoiesis, or the production of new red blood cells. And so it makes sense that males generally have a higher red blood cell count than females, as we have more testosterone. So, pretty fun fact there. We also know that throughout growth, testosterone will promote the expansion, we should say, of the epiphyseal plate, or our growth plate, right? And, you know, we're really talking majorly, right, like long bones here, right? Like the femur, for example, you know. But this causes the bone to expand in length, and that's how we get our growth spurt during puberty and shortly after, right? So Another interesting fun fact about testosterone, and what it does to our bodies. Now, when we talk about the regulation, so we've been talking about a lot of effects tonight, but we promised we'd talk about regulation, and we never skip out on our promises here. We keep our word at Wen Wellness, and as we said in the beginning of the video and yesterday, well, where does it all start? It starts in the hypothalamus, right? Releasing gonadotropin, releasing hormone. And when we have a lot of testosterone, well, being produced, well, the body says, okay, look, we're going to shut this off because we don't need more. All right, too much of anything ain't good unless you needed a lot of testosterone for some reason, right? But it's on what we would call a negative feedback loop, or you could say, it goes by a negative feedback mechanism here, is how testosterone is regulated. And so if we have a lot, the testes say, all right, I've been making a lot, and it tells the hypothalamus, look, my guy, don't produce any more gonadotropin-releasing hormone. We don't need that traveling down the hypophyseal trunk to the anterior pituitary gland to produce more luteinizing hormone, or FSH, because that luteinizing hormone is coming down here and making us produce more testosterone as it is converted from cholesterol, right, via the Leydig cells. So it says, we're going to shut that off. We got plenty. So what happens if it's low? Well, if it's low, well, the opposite will happen, right? Because the body's very intelligent naturally, and your hypothalamus then will produce that gonadotropin releasing hormone, right? It will travel down the hypophyseal trunk, yada yada yada, eventually produce more luteinizing hormone, and hence more testosterone. So that's it's not too much on the day. I didn't want to throw too much at once, but we'll talk more about testosterone tomorrow. Again, we're going to devote a few days to it here, but first let's say hi to the people before we talk about some other great people. Haley, how you doing? Skim, what's up, brother? And Nadia, how you doing, girl? What's going on? Thank you for tuning in. So I hope you guys got something out of that. Who doesn't want to hear about testosterone, right? Especially if you're a guy. So, not stereotyping, right? But what we got to say before we go is, happy birthday, Aunt Linda! Happy birthday! I love you so much. And I'm really excited. I'm really, really excited to see you soon at Michael's wedding. It's going to be a great time. I'm going to dance my face off. I promise you that. Never go to a wedding and don't dance a lot. I'll be dripping sweat on the dance floor, so you just got to make sure there's a guy there with a mop ready to, clean it up so nobody gets hurt, right? Because of Wen Wellness, we wouldn't want anyone to get hurt. We just want you to get healthy exercise in and have a lot of fun. But no, in all seriousness, my Aunt Linda, man, when I visit you, I love visiting you guys down there. I come there and I feel like even though you're in Virginia Beach and I don't get to see you too often, it's like I saw you yesterday. It's great. I mean, and I guess that's the thing with family a lot. But I think that I shouldn't even say that because I think that, but a lot of people they don't have that kind of relationship with their family. It's like. But a lot of people don't have that kind of relationship with their family, like they see them, they're like, how's the drive, how's the weather, and like, but I feel like we have a great time. I love you so much. I love your whole family, my whole family, all of you guys. We all, we have a like mindset, and we have a like sense. I could at least, flatter myself by saying of positive energy and. Just looking to get the most out of our days, and you're doing great, and I'm so proud of you. I'm so it's weird to be proud of somebody that's older than you, but you're retired now and you're just living life to the fullest, and it makes me so happy to see that. And I really hope not only did you enjoy today and are you enjoying tonight, but I hope that you enjoy the rest of your days so much, because living a long, great life of happiness and blessings, and I would never wish anything else. So very, very happy birthday, Aunt Linda. I love you so much. This one is for you. All right, happy birthday. So before we go, we also got to talk about Adam Young. Happy birthday, brother. Give a little, quick fake flex out here. Because Adam, fake, the word is not even in this idea. Just because I'm not going to sit here and actually be flexing for you guys. But but it's because Adam is a beast. Adam is a beast, man. On the rugby field, if you need it, if you look over, who made the tackle? Adam. That guy got tackled, Adam. Oh, another Adam. 25 tackles in a game. Just getting up every time. We'll play the whole 80 minutes. Will he or you, if you're watching this, if you get to see it. But man, you're the man, dude, and you're a great guy too. You're just a great guy off the field. We always have fun. One thing I want to say. I don't think I ever told you this. Sometimes when you talk to people, you get a lot of people. Naturally they have their intuition guiding them towards judgment, right, on someone, or they have these predispositions about certain things and people, and I guess we all do to an extent. But Adam, you're I feel like you just give everybody the benefit of the doubt. I mean, and of course they would need to earn respect, but by what they do, and they would need to be doing good things. But I get there's such a lack of judgmental character in you, where it's just you're always like, what's up, and no matter who it is, and it's because you have so much positive energy within yourself. You're so happy, and it flows and pours out of you. So keep that going through your next year, all right, for sure, and then the rest of your life too. But hey, very happy birthday, brother. If you're playing any rugby anytime soon near here on Long Island, you give me a call. Maybe I'll suit up, Yeah, well, now I have to if you call me, so. And I haven't played rugby in a bit, but, I would be fun. It would be fun to hit a few people, crack some skulls, I don't actually want to crack any skulls, just have fun. It's an expression in rugby for all you sensitive people out there. I know Adam's not one of them. And I hope you had a great day, my brother, and an even better night. So know that this one as well is for you, my man. Happy birthday. So thank you guys very much. Fantastic discussion tonight on testosterone, and fantastic talk about some fantastic people. And we'll see you tomorrow, you guys. Say goodnight to the Grateful Dead Bear. Have a good one, and ciao. We'll see you tomorrow, baby. Happy Wend Wellness. Thank you.